Suzanne, and yes, this is Rags-A-GoGo, and I'm continuing to talk about the transition of certain items in my store. And one of the things I just love are the crew necks, and especially the animal print crew necks. I have a huge collection myself. I've been collecting them for years now, and they're just really, 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 really comfortable. In fact, I have one underneath this right now. I'm just gonna zip this down. Ducks, you guys. I have ducks on underneath these interesting overall coveralls that I have over here. Let me just zip myself back up with zip. Okay, so behind me, I'm gonna start talking about some of these. This one I absolutely love. Why is it? Someone made this, someone silk screened this, you guys. This is old, this is from the 70s. This is when the animal prints first started happening. So someone decided to do it themselves, and they created an animal print crew neck. They took this gray one and they just silk screened right over it. It's probably like a class project or something like that, but I love it. What does that say? I don't even know what that says. I don't know if it's someone's name or the name of a deer. I'm not sure what that is, but this I love. I think it's wonderful. I'm going to put it right there. The next one I'm going to pick up, I'm into the dog ones too. They did a lot of animal prints with animals, like actual pets. And this one doesn't have a name on it. This is also from the 70s right here. This is pretty old. How do I know? Well, because it's the print itself. Now, when they started the actual pet prints, they would just put like the animal face on it. Then what they did later in the 80s is that they would put the name like Dachshund or Shepherd. And I kiddingly tell people, I think the reason why they did that is because like people were coming out of the 70s and they were kind of like, you know, they did a lot of drugs in the 70s and stuff, and people might be looking at them and going, hey man, that's like a shepherd. Someone goes, no, that's a dachshund. So maybe they had to start putting the names underneath. So I say that kiddingly with the transitions on that. But then when we got into the 90s, and I really mean it, we just didn't have like dogs and cats. We had like pheasants. We had all kinds of animals going on, and they would literally put the name of the animal, and then they would start giving detail all over it, like what the animal came from. They would do little tiny little animals of the same animal, and they'd give all kinds of descriptions all over it. And then that was the last part of the animal crew neck prints that were happening. So they really started in the 70s. They then went into the 80s, and then they went into the 90s. So I'm going to show you guys another 80 ones here. This is really, really cool. This was made to be with high-waisted jeans, you guys, and it's a bit bigger, right? And I'm going to turn it around. It's surround sound. And we know this is from the earlier part of the 80s. How do we know that? And even maybe the late 70s? Because look at this, guys. It says right here exactly where this was made. It just doesn't say made in the USA, right? It says where exactly it was made. And it also says under here, it gives details and stuff. So this was made right in Wisconsin. And I've never been to Wisconsin, but when I think about places like Wisconsin, I think about open air, I think about horses, I think about beautiful fresh air. So when I get to Wisconsin someday, I have a funny feeling it's going to look a lot like this. Put this over here. Now we have something that I love as well. Now these are from, oops, I'm going to pick this back up. This is from the 80s as well. How do we know? Remember the colors, guys? We've got the pinks and the blues going on. Look how much fun this is. We got the cats going around this way. We got a little cat on the back. This was added to this. Why was this added in? At one point, guys, we started to wear shirts and crew necks underneath our sweatshirts. And it's kind of hot to wear something under a sweatshirt, right? So the industry caught on to this, and they decided to just put in faux collars, faux shirts under. So that's not a real shirt underneath there. That's just sewn right in there. So that's a time and a place, and I love it. I just love them. I think they're really, really fun. And like I said, this is when they started getting a bit creative, and now we have surround sound with animals. I'm going to put that one right there. This is definitely 90s. How do we know this is from the 90s? Guys, we also have this really cool animal print from the 90s. Look at that. It has a little star thing here, has the gold on it. This is definitely the 90s. It's screaming it, you guys. It's black. We got into black in the 90s, early 90s. We had gold on things. We had silver on things. And yes, it's an animal print, only a 90s animal print. So here we go with the transition. We go 90s, right? We're going to go like that. I'm going to show 80s and 80s, right, guys? Look at those. Later part of the 80s, earlier part of the 80s. And then we have the 70s right here. Right there, you guys, we've got the 70s. So you just saw a bit of a transition of animal print, 70s, 80s, into the 90s. Come on by Rags-A-GoGo. I think I have one of the best selections of animal prints in the city, and yeah, get one for yourself.